Everybody, it is September 19th, 2025, here with your after hours recap. Okay, so to summarize, the market is on fire. In particular, the small and mid cap names, thematic names, quantum stocks, nuclear stocks, some drone stocks, battery stocks, robotic names, and we'll go through some of them right now. But things are just flying. I do own ARK, and we were just pushing higher again today. Just absolutely epic move where you're just pushing out of this nice flat base, and you're continuing higher. Absolutely gorgeous. I do own the thing from 59. Unfortunately, I got shaken out of my shares that I bought on 99. On 917. Hindsight's 2020. Should have given those a little bit more wiggle room, or to the end of day, and maybe I'd still be in them today. Obviously I would be, but it's just what happens. No big deal. Meanwhile, I am also in OKLO, and this thing is going vertical. I did trim some more off today. It's hard not to trim some more off, but it feels like all of my trims should have just been ads. So obviously that sucks a little bit. I would like to have kept it all, and then you would be in this absolutely insane move. But OKLO is amazing, and it's not just OKLO today. It's other parts. NNE woke up in a big way. SMR woke up in a big way. A CCJ, after that ugly dump candle, you basically get a push out to new closing high effectively. So have kind of that ugly dump, and I bought this thing on 99 as well. Not going to compare these kind of moves because OKLO and NNE and SMR much better. LEU, the other one, a whole lot better. New all-time high breakout here. Just fantastic. You really can't make this stuff up. This stuff that will move your portfolio in a really meaningful and big way. You also had the quantum stocks, IONQ, curing cancer this week. You had Rigetti out there curing cancer this week. Just these humongous moves, right? That's like what you would think the news was on these things, with the news that was, or with the moves that were going on. QBTS, another one. Again, quantum stocks, even non-quantum stocks like QMCO at one point was up 40% today. In fact, it finished up 40% today. Just insanity. And it's everywhere you looked. I bought SYM yesterday, and then you blink, and then all of a sudden this thing is up 12% on the day. So just awesome to see. Even the names that were showing some big volatility a few days ago, Uber right back at it, and this is even still a volatility contraction pattern where every time it comes down, doesn't come down as far. Would not be too surprised if Monday and next week, this thing is above triple digits, and pushing higher. Just an incredible market. NBIS, another one. A nice job being picked up out of this little base. Kind of starting to U-turn here. Oracle, trying to find some support on the rising 5 and 10 day. Hanging in there, probably going to push higher. Obviously, 113 in after hours. There's got to be some news that I'm not seeing. Oracle stock climbs 4.1, outperforms peers. Oh yeah, I saw the potential $20 billion deal with Microsoft, with Microsoft with Meta. So there's obviously that bit of news, and it's floating even a little bit higher in after hours. And so yeah, this market, how do we put it? Just incredible. Apple pushing out higher today out of this little small little base here, and really, we had a little bit of the monthly expiration, and what happened? Some names were a little bit lower. Something like Amazon finished flat on the day. AMD finished down a little bit on the day. Nvidia effectively flat. Meta, for the most part, down most of the day. But the base here still looks great. So don't want to write names off. The market is just on fire. MP is one that I bought near the 50 simple moving average, and finally nice to see this thing go the past 2 days. What else? Futu's another one of these that was the first China leader to take off, coming and revisiting the 50-day. I almost bought it over prior day high, but left it alone. One of the notable things was we had a little bit of weakness in crypto, just effectively selling off all day long. I couldn't tell you exactly why that is, but that is what happened. And you had something similar in Ethereum today. And I wanted to buy IBIT yesterday, but it gave me such a nice level to work with, and you just refused to push higher in IBIT over that pre-market level of 67. And then it's like, well, good thing I didn't even try it. um, you got the 67 level, and then intraday you just fail, and then you kind of roll over from there, and then today just all down all day. So it's like, okay, good. I didn't get myself into a stupid situation and just take a paper cut. So it is what it is. I do have a short on MSTR. We did bounce a little bit towards the end of the day. I think that's fine, so long as you're hanging out under the 200 simple moving average. For me, it continues to be a short, and I will just kind of manage risk off of that 200. If I get stopped out, and it starts to establish itself above the 200, above the 50, I would change my tune if Bitcoin is indeed acting better. But for now, right, this thing has been a laggard. You get a little move up into the 200, and that gives you an opportunity to, hedge some of your longs with a few shorts, right? Are you going to hedge some of your longs shorting the indices? You can do that. Are you going to hedge some of your longs shorting laggards? You can do that too. But ultimately, today was just a insane day. I mean, it's like if you've got a bunch of red names in your portfolio, you need to kind of reevaluate the portfolio that you actually have. I do have a few reds today in my portfolio, one of them being CCL. It is holding on to the 50 simple moving average. Any closes below the 50, I will let it go. Basically price is the same exact thing that it was in July. I don't have time, to be sitting in names up 20% in 3 months. I mean, that's just in this market. I would rather be almost cash. And it's one thing that I even have to babysit and look at and stare at and worry about. So there is, I still have some cash to work with. I still want to add to some positions going forward, particularly Tesla, if we can set up properly. But man, it's just a fantastic market. The other name of mine that is red, again, I talked about adding to some Futu. I do own PDD, and I just took some off once we kind of started to break these lows of the day, and then you started to get this pickup in volume. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to lighten up a third of my position. So I still have it from this day here at 122.5 from 9.3. So as long as we stay above the 20, I'm okay. I'll just let it work. And yeah, I mean, it's been an absolutely awesome market. Silver closed at a all-time weekly closing high, or very close to it. So again, does the metals market continue higher? Gold is another one of these that won't go away. And then even the gold miners like NEM today I saw was up like 4.5%. And it's good to remember, like, what's like one of the leading stocks in the S&P 500 this year? It's NEM. So this thing has been an absolute monster effectively all year. It's up 110% plus on the year. So that's just been incredible for the gold names. Gold continues to look like it might want to go higher. I keep thinking to myself, if the dollar strengthens, maybe some weakness in to the metals. But, really the dollar was up just another hair today, and, gold names didn't flinch whatsoever. So, you kind of just sometimes got to ignore what your thesis is until price starts to confirm what your possible thesis might be. So big moves as well today in JOBY. This one came back to life. That's nice to see. Congratulations. I saw a few guys on X that did get long this thing. Very nice move, nice continuation, nice pickup in volume, nice job getting back above the 50. No complaints there. QuantumScape, I know some of the guys in the room and girls in the room, they did buy this thing like mid 10.5s yesterday. Nice job to those of you guys who got involved in this thing in my room yesterday. I mean, there's just so much going on out here. I've kind of said it before, like, you just can't kiss all the babies or kiss all the girls. I don't know which of the phrases it is, but you just can't kiss all the girls. And OUST is another one of these where I thought yesterday it was pretty good. A little bit of a pause today. Nothing really wrong with it. I probably suspect that this thing is at a new 52-week and all-time high very, very shortly. That's just kind of the market that we're in. Obviously, I felt like everybody's attention, including mine, was just, my eyes were glued to OKLO today. I think just kind of in a little bit of disbelief. as to the squeeze we were seeing. It's nice to see, it's nice to be in, but it's good to remember you can't get too excited just because you're in one of those. You did your job properly. Make sure you're paying yourself into that strength. Leave yourself in a position to just be able to trail this thing in case it wants to go even crazier, and continue to find spots, low risk area, low risk stocks, that are coming out of fairly tight areas or reclaiming key levels. Something like an SYM, something like a JOBY, something like a QS yesterday. So continue to do your job. Don't be enamored by the thing that you own that's doing really great, right? You don't want to jump for joy when you're doing something well, and you don't want to get too down when you're doing something incorrectly. It's like your job was to be in an OKLO or an IONQ or whatever, and let it work, and then the market gods bless you with awesome gains for being patient and taking proper size. And in the meantime, you're supposed to continue to do your job, find the stocks that are working, look for low risk entries, take those, size properly, trim into strength, be patient. You guys hear me kind of repeat and harp on the same thing all the time because they are tactics that work. They'll work today, they'll work next year, they'll work in 5 years from now, they'll work 20 years from now. Those tactics will always work. Look for stocks in leading groups, look for stocks in leading themes, look for things that are tight, in particular against their ascending moving averages. Good things tend to happen when you do that. And don't forget to use some progressive exposure. Make sure that the market's inviting you in. Don't chase stocks that are wildly extended. It's a barn burner of a market right now. I will say a little bit of weakness, final point, a little bit of weakness in the IWM. And a lot of that had to do, I'll make a post today. It looked like just a bunch of these small regionals were kind of struggling a bit. So you had a little bit of a down move in the Russell. I don't want to make too much of a stink about it because this is basically just wedging into an all-time high. This thing has earned itself a little bit of a shake, and then maybe we can continue from there. But I've got absolutely nothing to complain about in this market. If you're not making money here, I don't know what market you would need to be making a shitload of money. So everybody should be getting absolutely paid. That's kind of the market that we're in. Shorts are being basically steamrolled. People are FOMOing into everything. And if you've done your job and you bought things right, you should be making tons of money. So hopefully you guys have been trading well. And I look forward to seeing you guys this upcoming week. And you guys have yourselves a really great weekend. Cheers.